Liverpool are the reigning European champions and begrudgingly hand over their title in August. Barcelona, Manchester City, Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid are in the hunt for Champions League honours. But it is Bayern Munich who have the best chance. Barcelona are struggling and Real Madrid are on the cusp of being dumped out by Manchester City. The citizens themselves are in poor form, but seem to have managed enough in the away leg to knock out Los Blancos. Juventus are in a rut of their own. Paulo Dybala and Cristiano Ronaldo are showcasing their class but lack support. They're scoring goals thanks to individual brilliance, and the synergy as a team seems to be lacking. Paris Saint-Germain should have hoped for a serious assault on the coveted Champions League, but Ligue 1 has not resumed since the enforced coronavirus lockdown. When the Parisians return, they would be returning to action after 5 months. They will have a complete squad akin to returning from a long-term injury layoff. This leaves Bayern Munich in the best possible condition. The record German champions have managed 15 wins in a row to secure yet another Bundesliga title. They will be gunning to add more silverware this season, and the circumstances are in their favour. It's not that Lady Luck has shined on them, but the club have worked tirelessly to achieve these targets. Winning the Bundesliga is a foregone conclusion, but Bayern want to do it in style. Niko Kovac was shown the door as he could not give the desired performances. In the end, a 5-1 drubbing at the hands of Eintracht Frankfurt cost him his job. Former midfielder Hans-Dieter Flick was tasked to step up from his assistant manager's duties and lead the group. A 2-0 win over Olympiacos, followed by 4-1 victory over high-flying Borussia Dortmund, turned heads, and soon the job was his. Hansi has done a remarkable job with the players at his disposal. He's rejuvenated Thomas Müller and helped propel Alphonso Davies' star. None of this is a one-man operation, and Flick would agree to it. He has expertly guided a ship that was on the ascendancy. Not that Bayern are ever easy to tackle with. The loss of Arjen Robben and Frank Ribéry has been tough. They have had young stars make themselves count, but for a club of De Roten's stature, something more is needed. The club is always looking to improve and get the most value out of the transfer window. This is where they outperform everyone in the Bundesliga and have set the roadmap for everyone to follow in Europe. A lot has been said about Liverpool's excellent transfer market strategy, and contrast it to what Bayern Munich have been employing at the Allianz Arena, and you will understand who set the blueprint. FC Hollywood have their sights set on the target and are in the process of adding to their ranks. Leroy Sané has been added to their ranks in a €49 million deal. Given its structure, the deal will rise to €80 million, and Bayern would love to pay additional sums, as it will mean their gambit on Sané has worked. Kai Havertz is their next target. The Bayer Leverkusen attacker has been on their radar for quite some time. Havertz is young, versatile and proficient in all aspects. Moreover, he's just beginning to show what he can achieve, as his true potential remains untapped. He checks all the boxes, and at Bayern Munich he will get the opportunities to reach it. Chelsea have been linked with him, but regular contention for Champions League glory will keep him glued to Bundesliga, at least for the time being. Havertz will not come cheap, but Bayern will splash the cash to secure his services. Despite the financial constraints due to the pandemic, the Bavarians have enough to bring him to Allianz Arena. Sané has been procured from last season's kitty, and this season's allocation remains untouched. This is the smart transfer market business that has made Bayern the masters of Germany. They get the players they want, and it's easy to understand how. FC Hollywood do not sign players on a whim. A lot of work is done behind the scenes. Sané was in their crosshairs before he joined Pep Guardiola's Manchester City revolution. Havertz has been eyed for a longer period. The Leverkusen native was scouted during his youth days, and advances have been made towards him ever since he broke through into the first team. The blueprint that Bayern used before splashing cash is one of patience. A player is not signed after one good season, but after sustained periods of excellence. FC Hollywood will only part company with their hard-earned cash only after they are sure. This is why they've not had big money flops. This is not a normal phenomenon. You can go back to the time Frank Ribéry was brought to the Allianz Arena. The French magician was linked with Bayern after the 2006 World Cup, but would make the switch a year later. Arjen Robben's move is an anomaly, but there was never any doubt about his ability, and he was available at a cut price. This strategy has allowed Bayern to significantly reduce their transfer expenses in securing targets. With the exception of the 2019-20 campaign, Bayern have repeatedly managed to get players on free transfers. Alexander Nubel and Tanguy Nianzou will join their ranks for the new season, joining Leon Goretzka and Robert Lewandowski in the first-team fold. In a similar manner, Bayern have looked to secure young stars from Germany and wherever else there is potential. Alphonso Davies was signed last year and is now a first-team regular. The 18-year-old commanded a modest €10 million fee. Serge Gnabry signed a year prior for €8 million from Werder Bremen, and Niklas Süle arrived from TSG Hoffenheim. for €20 million. For every Corentin Tolisso, a Gnabry also makes his way to Bavaria. However, it's not always been smooth sailing for Bayern in the transfer window. They've faced several setbacks in getting the player they needed. Their attempts were thwarted by Manchester City before Sané made his way to the Allianz Arena. Callum Hudson-Odoi was followed relentlessly and 3 bids made, but the Englishman signed a contract extension at Chelsea. Some players do take time to finally call Bavaria their home, and sometimes the hierarchy is unsure about a player. James Rodriguez was the player Carlo Ancelotti wanted and they got him, but there were doubts about his suitability, hence a 2-year loan deal was struck. The Colombian was going to command a €60 million fee if Bayern wanted to make the deal permanent. This move worked for their benefit. James could not adjust to the Bundesliga and Bayern averted a disaster. On the other hand, Kingsley Coman arrived on a similar 2-year loan deal and is now a first-team regular. Bayern spent €21 million to sign him on a permanent basis and it remains a steal. A similar path was followed with Philippe Coutinho last summer. Barcelona wanted to get him off their books as they welcomed Antoine Griezmann to their roster. The Brazilian was available on the cheap, and Bayern never leaves value on the table. Coutinho had a better stint in Bavaria if you compare his previous 2 years or even James's in the Bundesliga. But the year-long loan deal showed that the Brazilian was not compatible with De Groten's playing philosophy under Hansi Flick. As a result, Bayern did not exercise their option to sign him for €120 million. Ivan Perisic arrived on a similar deal. He did not like Antonio Conte's playing philosophy and wanted to move away. Bayern came to his rescue and he joined them. The Croatian too did not impress the German club into making the deal permanent. In normal circumstances, both Coutinho and Perisic would have set Bayern Munich back by €200 million in transfer fees and annual wages would be stacked on them. And the Bundesliga outfit managed to come out unscathed from these transfers. They only paid for a year's services and held up their hands to not continue these associations further. Barcelona, on the other hand, have a €120 million asset they cannot offload. In summation, Bayern are leaps ahead of the competition in Bundesliga, and this is why they remain champions of Germany for the 9th successive year in a row. Their greater financial muscle has allowed them to open the gap, but they've remained at the top thanks to their mastery of the transfer window. Leroy Sané's addition would further tilt the balance in their favour. Kai Havertz's protracted move will add misery to everyone else in German top flight.